All right, we're here with Harley Man, and get out here where you can see us. Got the microphone set up. Hopefully you'll hear us. Come over here, Harley. We're going to turn. Try to stay in the frame right here. So ground tie, rub him to a stop, and just let him relax a minute. So I just went and got him out of the pasture. And come on, Harley, we're going to go do a video. So I'm Justin Dunn, American Mustang School, and I've got Harley here. He's been with me 11 years now. I was just thinking about it while we were setting up for the show, and I was the first person to touch this little horse, and he's just been a phenomenal little horse, helping me accomplish what it is we get to do here at American Mustang School and promoting mental health and wellness and preservation of the American Mustang. So he's really cool horse. Law of action is what we're going to talk about in this video, and it's the doing of things. You know, there's a difference between being and doing, and sometimes just being with your horse is just as important as doing something with your horse. Not necessarily doing it to them, doing it with them. So we've got to be willing to change for the individual to help them discover what it is we're asking them to do or help us do in the human element. So let me explain it this way. What you are and what you want to be is what you do. So think about that for a second. Whatever you think and do, you become. If you want to become something, you have to first think about what that is, and then make a plan, take effort, take action to do it. So think about it, make a plan, do it, become. And the scripture talks about faith without works is dead. That's James 2:17, just to let you know. Think and do to become. It's in the doing that you'll get the experiences needed to solidify what it is that you intended to do in the first place. One thing I'll point out is to rest. So if you are applying tension, mental tension, physical tension to yourself or the horse, it's important, equally important, to rest. And whenever I practice the law of cause and effect, too much mental tension, too much mental stress, too much physical tension, too much physical stress has to be relieved. You start getting too much of that, fatigue comes in. We can restrict the mind. And we don't want to restrict the mind. We don't want to add tension to the body and leave it there. So that's real important. We all want to not struggle in horsemanship or in life. The game of horsemanship, the game of life. But it's important to understand the challenges are where you learn and grow and develop and become what it is you first thought of. So thinking, doing, understand there's challenges, overcoming those challenges are what help you develop and grow. So looking at challenges in a different way will help you overcome them. So in other words, if you have a problem, you become bigger than that problem, there is no problem. If you are thinking the thoughts you want, you are bigger than your thoughts. You're controlling them. If you are doing what you want, you're in control of your actions. So whatever I think and do, I become. Whatever he thinks and does, he becomes. And then we do that through repetition. We create a habit. And once a habit is set, it becomes a character. So this horse started out in a way, and through interaction with a system to get desirable results, he is now this way. So his character. He is a calm, quiet, thinking horse. He doesn't respond or react chaotically. He responds quietly to the questions that I ask him. He's ground tied, so he is being asked a question right now. He is acutely aware of his surroundings. So he processes information and through reflections of his body lets me know what he's thinking. So he's on alert, checking things out, a little bit of tension. But if I'm that stable lighthouse in the storm all the time, he will draw to me. So I have to think and do, present, if I want a realistic expectation. So whatever I think and do, I become. Whatever he thinks and does, he becomes. Through law of repetition, creates a habit, and we have a character. Now, I just repeated myself intentionally because it's to show you that through that law of repetition, which we're not talking too much about, but we will later in videos, it has to be. You have to do that. That's the doing. You have to continue to think repetitively, and you have to continue to do things repetitively to create that habit, solidify it, and then your character is formed. So if I have a nice, quiet, calm horse that anybody can ride and has proven that hundreds and hundreds of times over, that's proof that what I'm telling you works. I want to kind of correlate some things that I only talk about really in the private sessions of my school here. So I don't know if you heard, but he took a deep breath. I then took a deep breath. Triggers body responsive relaxation in both of us. We synchronize our heart rate, our breathing, our mental and physical tension is relaxed. We can actually have a conversation, no anxiety. Those type things are what we practice through thinking and doing, repeating, and then becoming. So I want to direct your attention to some numbers because you'll start to see a pattern form as you start to play with horses. And there's certain numbers that just keep reoccurring. So the number 2, let's just start there. It takes 2 of us to create this relationship, horse, human. Comparison and contrasting between horse and human. And if I remember later, I'll tell you what the differences are in horses and humans, which is only one that I've found. So we get to contrast and we get to compare. It's like day and night, or good and bad, good and evil. There's patterns formed. So in asking horses questions, I created a series of questions, which is 5 questions to ask any horse. And that'll allow me to get a deeper understanding of that individual. If you don't know what the 5-part series is, I have videos on that, but I'll briefly tell you that they are a series of 5 questions that I'll ask any horse to get a deeper understanding of that horse. It is a mantra. It is something we can do and repeat to get a differential, an understanding, and a transformation, a habit, a character in each individual horse that I come into contact with. So that law of action, law of cause and effect, very important to understand and implement to reap what nature or what the horse wants to reveal to you that is secret if you do not know these laws that we are learning about. So the number 5 comes up a lot. And from what I understand, the number 5 is transformation. It's maturity and unity. It's a very important number. We have 5 fingers. We take in information, process it, give it. 5 fingers. Take, process, give. Scripture talks a lot about numbers. 5 stones, David and Goliath. Those are pretty substantial transformation in that story. Abraham's name, 5th letter, his wife Sarah's 5th letter, those are changes, transformation from then on. And you can read about those, so we don't need to go too in depth of that. What I really want to direct your attention to is something that I use here at the school, and I will demonstrate it on the back of a horse for just its own video because there's a lot of information in what I'm getting ready to tell you. The number 8, turn it sideways or look at it in a way, it's an infinity loop. That infinity loop is where I will start in level 3 for my students or a new horse and myself to get a deeper understanding of these laws of the universe that we're speaking of. I will ask the horse questions, observe feedback from them, and present again. And then in the infinity loop, I can continue to do that to where we start to harmonize and create a habit through muscle memory, law of motion, or law of vibration. Whatever I go inward to myself and present outward to the horse, I can observe feedback outward of him and understand what he's thinking inward and feeling inward. So if you've read my book or you understand what we do in horsemanship is we monitor inward to go outward. We monitor outward to understand inward on the horse. Through this law of action, I can ask questions, physically think and do pathways of communication, and ask my horse for feedback. I can become an observer and a guide in asking, and I give them a voice to tell me. Then I'm willing to make changes, which in turn creates willingness in the horse to continue to communicate with me in a feedback loop. Now, each time, each day, we're also going to use and understand the law of compensation, but I don't want to jump too far ahead on that one, but that is simply the time it takes, is the time it takes. And we'll go into that later. Whenever I go on to the infinity loop in level 3, I've already established law of oneness. I've already established law of vibration. I've already established law of action on the ground. We've transferred up to the back. And we're walking in a infinity loop. This is where law of action really comes in and ties in all the other laws as well. Whatever I'm thinking and feeling is an inner pathway of communication with my horse and what he's thinking and feeling as well. Whatever my attitude is and action based on those thoughts and emotions is going to have an effect, cause an effect on my horse. He is going to give me feedback with his action, and it's going to take me in an understanding of what his attitude is, his emotions are, and his thoughts. So I'm going inward to present outward. I'm observing outward to understand inward. And that is the feedback loop. Now there's mechanical things that we'll do. And if you were here at the school, we could dive deeper into those things. And I could show you through experiencing them how they really work. But it's simply, I am in control of my thoughts and what I do through action, what these hands do, what these feet do, what my seat does, what my body does. If I am unconscious of what that is, and he is conscious of what I'm doing, that will give me an opportunity to gain an awareness, develop the skill that everybody needs in this life, in this game we call life. Why, you might ask? Well, it's simple. How do we not get hurt? How do we benefit in this game of horsemanship, game of life? What are the secrets nature is hiding from me? What are the secrets this horse, this once wild Mustang horse, is hiding from me? Those get revealed when you understand law of action, going inward, aligning those 4 things that you have control of, can control: thoughts, emotion, inner pathway of communication; attitude, action, outer pathway of communication; observing through your 5 senses, feedback from the horse outwardly, what's going on inwardly, and then maintaining an agreement, thought to thought, mind to mind, body to body, heart to heart, breathing to breathing, muscle to muscle. All of these things have to synchronize, harmonize. So as an example, first get on a horse and we do some things, but I'm going to summarize this. Please understand this video is just a summary of the law of action, just to give you an idea, a deeper understanding that maybe you don't have. I'll do that infinity loop in asking my horse questions through law of action. All of the other laws apply, just so you know. However, I may have to do this 5 pattern for transformation, 6, 7 patterns for perfection, if you want to call perfection. Please understand there's no such thing as perfection in horsemanship other than flow state, where your skill and experience and the challenge that you're asking the horse to help you do pretty much align all the way. If the challenge is too big, creates some anxiety, meaning you're pushing the horse too fast, too soon, or yourself. Or the challenge is so small it's boring to where your skill and experience exceeds the challenge and you get bored. And that can be a restriction in the mind as well and cause tension in the body, frustration, like, I'm so bored, this is boring, I'd rather be doing something else. We've all felt those emotions. They do too. Now, as you do what you can, you start to gain an understanding of what you cannot do, which is control outside of you. This is a 1,000-pound Mustang horse, muscle horse. I cannot control him. I can only ask him questions to create willingness in him to come to me and aid me in doing whatever it is the higher purpose. Now, I cannot force him. I cannot take something from him. I have to attract him through the law of attraction. We'll talk about that later too. But it is aligning here to where I'm worthy of him wanting to be with me. There has to be a benefit for him. He understands this game of nature, of life. He understands how to not get hurt. He understands how to benefit. He abides in these laws of nature I'm explaining to you. He understands the law of energy conservation. He's not going to waste unnecessary mental tension or stress out. He's not going to waste energy and unnecessary physical tension and stress out. He's going to find a release. If I am worthy for him to join with me, it'll be of benefit because I will trigger body responses in him of relaxation where his brain is monitoring body systems when that mental and physical tension start to peak out. Yeah, I know, Bubba. And that is what we want. That is the willingness we create, because when he realizes what we are doing, he will step up and do things we are literally incapable of training into the horse. And what I mean by that is he will adapt willingly to each and every person that ever comes into contact with him if they abide in these laws that I speak of. And when I teach students to do that, he understands what they're trying to do and he will take up where they fall short. I could not train him to do that. So this law of action, you go inward, present outward. You understand that there are thoughts and emotions, attitude and action. You share those with the horse. You have teeth, he has teeth. You have bone, blood, hair, heart, lungs, guts, fingernails, hooves. Almost anything you can find in a human. Let me restate that. Everything you can find in a human, you can find in a horse. Except one thing. And that is the divine mind, the imagination, the ability to analyze your thoughts and create the life you want through thinking, through doing, and law of repetition, become. Now, you have the ability to shape and mold this little creature because he is willing to be shaped and molded to assist you in accomplishing a much higher purpose than both of us. I've proven that time and time again. There is a therapeutic value in horsemanship, horse-human relationship. These laws that I'm teaching you about are the way that we ask and discover, find out what the rules are, find out what our beliefs are, find out what our philosophies are, apply them or not. Prove all things and hold on to what's good. Now, when you get into the feedback loop of thinking and doing and creating the relationship you want to go and do the mission you have thought of doing, you will get into a feedback loop and you will understand oneness, that law of oneness we spoke of. Whatever you think and do has an effect on yourself. Whatever you think and do has an effect on others, the horse, other people. It also spills over into the other main areas of your life, your health, your wealth, your happiness, your relationships, your spirituality. All of those things you will come at with a different perception. Knowing these laws that govern the heavens and the earth and applying them to your life in horsemanship through the practice of horsemanship will help you develop them. And then you will have a sixth sense. You have five senses. Those are pretty easy to discover in probably 3 minutes of just thinking about it. But that sixth sense, how do you tap into that? How do you tap into infinite information that is available to all of us? How? Well, it is going inward, aligning your thoughts, your emotions, your attitude, action, creating a habit, forming a character of stability in all situations. Outside influences have little to no effect on your ability to maintain that control of what you can control. you will attract what it is you need to continue to do that and what you want to continue to do that. Horses pick up on that very quickly. They will draw to you by default. You can almost bend reality. In any situation that I'm on, when I'm on the back of a horse, I don't care about outside influences. I'm aware of them. Again, develop the awareness. But what I do care about is going inward, presenting outward, observing outward, finding out the inward, and making changes to create the desirable relationship, the desirable experience that I want, that I know they want. When they pick up on what you're doing, they will open and reveal to you things they otherwise wouldn't. They'll do it for other people. That habit that I speak of through law of repetition, they pick up on what we're doing. We'll both take a deep breath. I get so excited when I talk of this because this is something that is like when I'm hungry, I eat, and that feels good. When I see someone else that's hungry and I can feed them, that feels even better. So I discovered these things in horsemanship, and I love sharing them with people in that same regard. So do they. A lady asked me one time, what is it for them? I said, well, it's very rewarding because think of this. They're fine in nature. They are nature. They can eat grass. They can fertilize the grass. They can swat flies. They can do all of the things that they're designed to do. They can do the things in nature. They fit right in. They know their purpose. They understand it. But when we invite them into the human element correctly, they get to understand where their space or their place is in the universe in the human element, and what they're called to do in the human element is very rewarding for them. Whenever I align myself and present to them so that they can stay in alignment as if they were in nature, uninterrupted by man, but can do it in the human element with man, is very rewarding. They get to be a part of something much bigger than themselves, much bigger than us. That's about all I could say on that for you to understand. So I'll part with this. Whenever you think in association of things, whenever you think about yourself and how you're inserting yourself into their life, what effect is that going to have? Based on these laws of nature that we spoke of in this video and the last two videos. Law of oneness. Whatever you think and do has an effect on you. Whatever you think and do has an effect on others, the horse. Law of vibration. Paying attention to what you're thinking. Are you thinking in a positive mental state? Or are you thinking of a negative? Can you maintain the present state of thinking? And for how long? Are you presenting the best version of yourself to the horse? These guys don't care about a lot of the things that society teaches us to care about. The only thing they care about is how much we care about ourselves and how much we care about them. And in order to prove that we care about them, we do have to care about ourselves. So that's the practice, thinking in association of things. What are you presenting to the horse? How do they perceive you? Whenever I teach people to trade places with the horse and treat them as they'd want to be treated if the roles were reversed, that's what I mean. Look at it from the horse's perspective. Is he gaining a benefit in the game of life? Is it something that he can draw to naturally because it aligns with all the things that he wants to maintain alignment on? His thoughts, his emotions, his attitude, his action in nature, thriving, enriching his life. Whenever we bring them into the human element, we have to make sure that's the direction we're going in the overarching purpose. So hopefully that helps you understand, thinking in association of things. I don't use bits in their mouth. I don't want them to see a bitless bridle coming off and think in association of, hey, that hurts me, that obstructs me, that's going to cause me a restriction in my mind, tension in my body, and interfere with the flow state that we're trying to go to. I don't want him to hear jingling on my boots where he associates that with gigging him in the sides. And I teach a lot of people that wouldn't even know how to use a bit. They wouldn't even know how to use spurs. They definitely wouldn't know how to control a whip in their hand, They don't even control their hands until we start practicing these things. So we decrease all these outside influences that can interrupt this mind and body connection, our mind and body connection. And we keep it simple. And I tried to break this down into the simplest forms so you could understand. Harley, stay right here. I want to turn this board so I can see if we got anything else to say. And break this down into the simplest forms. Here, back your feet just a little bit. There you go. One more. You're stepping on your rope. One more. There you go. So life. What is life? What does it mean? It's what we want to do. We want to grow and develop in a higher state of intelligent expression. That's what he wants to do. He wants to gain or accumulate. He wants to serve. He wants to become more important tomorrow than he is today. That's the little challenges that we get to overcome, the little victories. And that's what brings joy and ultimately happiness. So it is a game. We got to think of it as a game, and we're playing this game. If you think of it as work, it can get, you get bogged down with that. Play. That's what children do. They're creative. We want to go into that growth or creative mindset. We want to be willing to change. When we're willing to change, we can understand what is easy. And I kind of define that for myself. Horsemanship's easy, and people say, it looks so hard. You make it look so easy. Well, I'll tell you, it's easy because it's something we can do. We just have to play hard at it, work hard at it. Think, do through law of action, become. Create a habit through repetition. And we'll define our character. Or it'll be defined as we want, not as what they want. And they meaning the society, the world that's willing to stamp an identity on anybody at any given time. They're fine with that. But if you want freedom, if you really want confidence, you prepare yourself, you practice, you'll get confidence, which is freedom. Freedom to think, freedom to do, freedom to become what it is you truly want to become in this life. Horses are an accountability partner in that. They give you true, honest feedback. If you present to them something true and honest to give you feedback. If you're not thinking in the present, you're in the past. They're not able to give you the truth. You need to understand a realistic expectation from these horses. You have to present to them in this moment and understand it's right here, right now. Your mind can't be in the past, can't be anticipating the future. You are doing here now to prepare for the future. We're going to talk about law of correspondence in the next video, and that's the outer reflects the inner. So whatever their reflection in the body is what their mind is thinking. Obviously, that's what we talked about a little bit already in this video, but whatever I'm thinking and doing is having an effect on him, that law of oneness. And a law of correspondence is really important to understand. The outer reflects what's going on inside. Generally what a person's thinking, they're saying. What they're saying, they're doing. What they're doing, they're creating a habit. What their habit is their character. So you will gain a superpower in practicing this on your own self-discovery and your own self-mastery to where you have a superpower away from the horse. That is the sixth sense that I'm speaking of. That will attract to you what you need and what you want to fulfill your higher purpose. Horses are there to guide you along the way. It's such a beautiful thing. I wrote a book on it. It's how much I believe in it. I used to just know these things. I know of them. I know that. Well, if you know it long enough and you prove it long enough, you believe it. And whatever you believe, you can become. You can achieve whatever it is. It doesn't matter. Sky's the limit. So I'll part with this. Prove all things. Hold on to what's good for you, because you are what gives your life meaning and purpose. And you are the one that is to fulfill that purpose. And that's a really cool thing when you can play with horses to discover it, master it, and find out why you're here. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so thankful for the horses. This little guy right here is just an amazing being. And he helped me this morning with a 71-year-old lady that had high anxiety, and she rode him like a champ and didn't display any anxiety. We did the infinity loop for a while, and that's a powerful little obstacle. We call it an obstacle, but it's a powerful little tool to develop understanding through law of repetition, through a pattern, through doing it once and seeing a differential, through doing it 3 times and seeing another differential, making changes, experimenting, practicing, applying, and that's life. So thank you for watching, and we'll bring you another video soon. So Harley, thank you for being the star of our video, buddy, and you deserve a belly scratch for that, and you're gonna get one. All right, good job. I'm gonna go bring you over here. You want to come with me? And we'll turn off this video camera.